Further ado, Colin with the Innovation Center. He's an instructor on the aviation side there. He's going to talk about a little bit about that and the programs at the Innovation Center, who we're trying to work a partnership with through Steve and myself to get more of the younger generation involved in amateur radio. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, everyone online. Colin, hey, everyone in person. I'm Colin. I just feel like I have to address two different spectrums here. I'm going to go ahead and share a screen. Nope, host disabled it. Host walked out the door.
Take it over there.
How would I offer that?
Probably under share and then say make move, or maybe you click on you. Move and share. Just make it all.
We're going to make it off now. Okay. We're going to hope that works.
Okay.
So now that gives me, nope. Running into some technical difficulties, asking me if I can screen record. Let's see, bypass this. Chrome tab.
Oh, nice. There you go.
There it is.
All right. How does everyone see? Okay. So, like Chuck said, I'm an instructor. I feel like I have to begin to go. You gonna see? I don't know if I'm talking to you guys, but you guys can, you guys are okay seeing the slide. So I'm an instructor at the Innovation Center of St. Vrain. Just out of curiosity, by show of hands, who's heard of that? Okay, so we're familiar. Anybody online? Okay. So it's a program for career technical and education, and one of the subjects is aeronautics, and it's become such a popular subject. We've actually branched off into three different directions: drone operations, manned airplane operations, and aircraft engineering. So the Innovation Center has a lot of programs. It extends to biomedical science, cinematics, entrepreneurship, computer science and ethical hacking, robotics, including underwater robotics. And there's definitely more I'm missing. But to give you an idea, we specialize in careers that are meant to give students skills in high-end jobs. So here I only know much about the aeronautics. That's kind of my shtick, and I'll be talking basically just about aeronautics. And I'm happy to take any questions at any time from anybody online or in person. So the way the Innovation Center was built was through a bond that I believe the entire St. Vrain district voted on. And there's going to be another bond this November for an expansion of the same building. But how it came about was really trying to change public education. And the first question was, what's innovation? Right? And they didn't even come up with the term Innovation Center until well after the plans of the new building. But they really wanted to focus on what's new and how do we make sure that we stay new, we stay relevant, and keep giving relevant skills that are in the workforce today. So all we have to do is make the new ideas, keep practicing new methods, see what works, and ideally, the new products are the new skills the students and new workforce we're able to provide Colorado. And so in aeronautics, I think we all know or may have an idea how far aviation has come in the past 100 years. And we're still innovating today. I don't know if anyone has seen the new aircraft that have come out, but they become more and more technologically advanced, where it's all screens and no real physical instruments. It's all digital now. And it's gotten to the point where we have, auto landing Cat 3 auto landing. So airliners can land themselves. And so it's really about making sure that we're not only teaching the basic principles of aviation, but we're also teaching those career skills that are being used right now. So my classroom is located in the aeronautics wing, and I focus on private pilot training. I'm a flight instructor by trade. That is how I was introduced to the Innovation Center. They were looking for somebody to teach manned airplane flying skills, right? So given that that's kind of my not only license but rating, we basically fly airplanes. I was able to offer that. Now it started very small, in a very small classroom. I would say about this size of the room, and it had a decent amount of simulators, but they were pretty old. 3 years forward, we were able to provide students with simulators that were completely emblematical of the aircraft they fly today in flight school. There's a couple of flight schools.
So they're peculiar to an airplane?
Yes, and it's usually typically the most common airplane, a Cessna 172. Almost every flight school has one, and it's either six-pack or they're going to start to add some sort of new avionics to it. In the picture on the left, we can see, if anybody's familiar with flight controls and avionics, we can see that we have the yoke and throttle system, but on top of that, we have dual G5s and a Garmin 530. Now, because that's gibberish to probably most of the population, essentially it's two avionics systems that condense that six-pack, those six primary instruments that we would have conventionally. And then we have a GPS system that's probably one of the most popular or most common in a Cessna. So when they go to flight school, they know how to use the equipment on board because we have the kind of parallel hardware attached to our simulators. The software we use has varied between Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane. For those who aren't familiar, it's just probably the #1 flying simulator that kids can buy as a video game. And it's great, but it's to the point where the physics are so good that we use them in education as well. And other flight schools who have simulators, typically they're going to be using X-Plane as the simulator software. So they're going to be very familiar with the software and how to use it. It has the entire world, so we typically fly out of our local airport, Vrain, or Boulder, or Erie, but essentially the Eastern Front Range. And then the other half of the classroom is all the ground school. We have to get that knowledge so students are actively learning the exact material you would in flight training. And this is just my part of the aeronautics pathway. So this is the private pilot pathway where students are actively trying to maybe get towards the airlines. But in high school, we kind of just get them ready for that first certificate. For those who may not know, I mean, a certificate is about $10,000 or if not more, if not twice that. Right? So being able to provide—
Did you say dollars or hours?
$10,000, if not double, right? And so being able to provide that knowledge and those skills to students is equivalent to that price, right? So we've seen students fly during class, well, maybe not during the time of class, but while they're a student, we've seen them become certified pilots prior to graduating high school. And so we know the effect that this class has on students. And we're hoping to maybe incorporate closer ties to flight schools and allow flight training inside the curriculum. So this is just our classroom, and it's pretty wide. We teach about 20 students a class, 250 students a year, just in this program. If we could get them all certified, I think we'd solve our pilot shortage.
You talked about a six-pack,
Yes.
the old six clustered instruments.
Yep.
Mechanical. You mentioned a G5 5?
Yep, here,
Is
so I'll
that
run it
the
back.
glass cockpit equivalent?
It's kind of like taking 2 instruments out of those 6,
Okay.
replacing it with these 2 squares you see on the left side above the yoke. And it will give you the same information as all 6 instruments plus navigation. So you can theoretically get rid of all 6 of them, and some people do. But why would you? We all love redundancy in aviation. So you being able to use the Garmin software inside of that and still access all of that information is critical, especially when we know we have those aircrafts at Vrain Airport where they are going to fly.
So like a friend of mine has an old single engine private aircraft.
Yeah.
He's got the mechanical instruments.
Yep.
So if I jumped into this,
Yep.
you, as opposed to trying to make mechanical dials move, you're doing it on a display.
Yep.
But it relates to what I'm gonna see if I'm actually flying with my friend.
Exactly. So these 2 pieces of avionics are going to attach to your pitot-static system for airspeed and altimeter settings. There's a computer that reads it, but it also has its own parts of the system. It has a accelerometer to indicate pitch and roll attitudes, and it has a magnetometer to indicate magnetic heading, more accurate than any compass. So, and it's always sliced. You never have to reset the heading indicator. It's always sliced. So they tend to be way more reliable than your typical 6-pack. Yeah, of course. Yes.
If the students successfully complete the pathway program, do they end up with any sort of certificate or anything official, or do
Unfortunately,
they have to go
no.
to a natural ground school?
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't get a driver's license without being in the car, getting those hours, and passing the driver's test issued by the state. Flight training is very similar, where you just have to be in the plane, get the hours, and pass the test issued by the FAA. And so gaining those hours, flying that plane, upwards of $200 an hour, and you have 40 hours. So it's a big toll on to ask a family to send their kid through flight training, especially while they're still in high school discovering. So here, while they get to discover whether they want to fly or not, without spending a dime, when they learn all this information and then carry it to flight training, they're not going to spend extra money and extra hours trying to learn it. They already know it. And so now they just have to do their minimum hours. So it does tend to save them, I would say, about 50% on flight training, between national average and minimums. So that's one part of the pathway. As I mentioned, there's 3 pathways inside the aeronautics department. And so the next one is what I mentioned, the drone operator. On the left is our personal runway. It's an RC runway. So we launch drones and RC aircraft, even fixed wing, from this runway, and we have a few acres back as well for our entire airspace. Our airspace is registered with the FAA. It's called a FRIA. I can't remember the acronym, but it is registered. And so we have an abundance of airspace to allow our students to do whatever they need to when flying a drone. They're still kind of capped within that 400 feet max altitude, but they have kind of all this field you see in the back. There's no more corn there, thank you. We lost a lot of drones inside the corn. But they cut it down a couple days ago, and so now we get our drones back. But this is our field, and on the right is not a student. Sorry, that was what I got. But we have just the same amount of students coming through the drone operations. We have about 150 students annually that go through our drone operator pathway, and we have more students becoming certified commercial Part 107 drone operators than we have any certificate out of that building. And so we are passing dozens per semester. It's really up to the student whether they want to continue. But we have so many students become hired straight out of high school, right after graduating, as a drone operator, making no less than $50 an hour. And I even had a few students outpace me in salary already. They just graduated. And so it really launches his careers straight from high school, 18, no degree, and they're making a killer living. Who knows where they can go from there. So our drone operator pathway is actually probably one of our most successful in terms of results and certificates earned and jobs earned as well. And our aeronautical, actually I should probably go back. The reason we were able to do this is a lot of it came from grants. A lot of schools and a lot of innovation centers around the state are actually getting a lot of grants to purchase drones and start aviation pathways. And I want to see if I add more to it. Actually, I have more slides. We'll kind of go on to it, but it's the grants essentially that was able to propel us that far, and we have, I want to say, we have over 300 drones. The third pathway is an aeronautical engineering pathway, where students actually learn to design airframes and airfoils. They will design it in CAD, so they have computer-assisted design skills. They become certified in CAD, or at least credentials from our accreditation. And students will cut it out in foam board, which just makes it very easy to put together and test the airframe. You can see that we have different models. Students start from a single small fixed wing, single engine. Sometimes it starts off as a glider, and then we start to add engines, but we can see that there are motors on some of these aircrafts, and these are the electric motors, and these will be remote controlled by the student, and they will have to, in real time, learn to fly by stick and rudder, and they will fly these in our backyard on our runways. There are 3 courses that assist aeronautical engineering, and it goes beyond just paper. We go into rotorcraft. We go quadcopters or octocopters, essentially your typical drone that has 4 or more arms and props, and they will make it. We actually manufacture our carbon fiber in-house, so they make them from carbon fiber. They will they will code them. They will program them to fly to whatever remote control they say, and it basically brings them to a point where they can now design a drone with a specific job application that they can then take to the market. So kind of going back to the private pilot ground school, back to the initial one. So what we're also able to do is provide college credit for the students. We are paired with Ames Community College, so they do get college credit as they take my course in high school inside this building. And you can see we actually updated our simulators. We're up to 20 simulators. 10 of them are between that G5 and G530 combination that we saw before. And here we have 10 of the most up-to-date avionics systems that are on board Cessnas right now in the most prestigious flight schools. This avionics package is called the G1000, and you can see there's a lot of information on those screens. So these students are not only learning how to fly a basic aircraft that is probably at every single flight school, but now they are learning the avionics at the universities. Universities like University of North Dakota, Embry-Riddle, Ames Community College, and even through MSU, McAir Aviation's flight school, they all use G1000, that their entire fleet. There's no ground gauge, there's no 6-pack. So making sure that the students understand this technically advanced aircraft is vital to them succeeding in those environments. We actually get about I want to say 5 or 6 students accepted to every riddle annually. Every riddle does invite our students out, and by the time they actually get to the school, they already know the systems.
Is that the one Prescott?
Prescott, yes, we go to Prescott, and then Daytona does accept our students as well. And even more beyond private pilot, I don't know if anyone knows this, but the instrument rating is just tacked on to your private pilot. It's probably one of the most important ratings when it comes to a certifying pilot, and it's what keeps us alive most times. So students will learn not only the in-depth knowledge of meteorology, but they will learn instrument procedures and through, again, both these avionics packages. So they will either learn instrument approaches without visual reference completely by G1000 or by the dual G5s and the GPS. It's only able to make that possible because of these avionic packages. Without the external displays, we could not fly. It would be too heavily mouse and keyboard. So I've been able to make this almost 100% hands-on flying. For after-school programs and more intense training, I do take students into our advanced aviation training device. Here, students can actually log up to 20 hours towards their instrument and 2.5 hours towards their private. 2.5 sounds kind of small when you say 20, but they're typically not ready for the instrument. However, those hours don't expire. So students are able to come in with a logbook, especially those in training. And because I'm a certified flight instructor and I'm an instrument flight instructor as well, I sign off their hours and they basically get half of their instrument training done before they finish private, which is totally legal. And so this piece of equipment was donated to us by Ames Community College. So we didn't have to go out and spend the 40 grand that we needed to purchase this. Instead, we got very lucky, and I update this meticulously, constantly, to make sure that it's always running and students always have access to it. So back to the drone operator. Again, we license dozens of students every semester. This is kind of our small fleet cabin. Kind of here we have 8 mini drones. We have 2 DJI Airs. Air 2Ss, more specifically. We have 4 Mavics, including the Mavic 3, which does have now thermal infrared camera attached to it. So students are actively using the same drones that are primarily used in law enforcement and other public services like fire protection, right? So they will use Mavic 3s with infrared to locate suspects. It has audio where the horns, you can make an announcement from the controller and it'll go through a speaker. Or you can put in like a really blinding light, kind of a spotlight, like a helicopter. We've had Firestone PD come in and talk to us about how they use drones in their everyday life. And it was really cool to hear how much of what they do our students already do, but showing that practicality in real time to show the students where you can take this, not as a police officer, but as a drone operator, you can assist so many levels of public service just by with what we know. And without this, we also have the what is it? Instructor? It's a cinematic drone, but it is up to 8K resolution and 50 times zoom. So these drones are no joke, and we wait till students are heavily trained and certified. This is also concurrent with Ames Community College, and once students are certified, during class, we take them out into the field, and we actually run actual jobs that our school is hired by. So FCI is a local construction company that has built our initial building, and they're going to be building our expansion. They do a lot of work locally, But they ask us to do all the imaging. That means we take pictures of every single day's construction or every single week's construction to show the progress, but we also have cameras that are able to run inspections legally down to the 10th of an inch. And we actually can display a full 3D image. It's called orthomosaics. And we can send that file to basically anyone, but more specifically the permits, the permit building or whoever's doing inspections. I'm not a construction worker, but I'm sorry?
Buildings.
Yeah, building inspector. And they're able, that's a legal method of inspection where they can look at it. So our students are actively doing real jobs while in class after they're certified. So that's kind of the pathway of the drone operator.
I assume these are all quadcopter.
A lot of them are quadcopter. These are the first, the one you see here is the first drone that all students run on. It's our cheapest one, so if they break, we're not as upset. But we have about, I want to say 15 drones for students to practice on. And then we have a few more that they actually use for jobs. So there are drones specific for jobs, just like the infrared. And each one of these drones are registered with the FAA. And then aeronautical engineering, the pathways there, the classes, how they run is first we get into that paper airplane, right? These are just images to make it entertaining. But students will start with that paper aircraft. They'll design it, they'll build it, they'll fly it, they'll crash it, they'll figure out what they did wrong, and then they'll do it all over again. And this is what we learned is the best way for students to really come up with really innovative designs and unique solutions to where we hope to get them is building them for actual commercial application.
You have a wind tunnel?
Not yet,
Not
but we're
yet.
looking for one.
Something.
Yeah, we're looking for a wind tunnel. So if anyone knows where one is, we'd be grateful. Right now, it's just we're using just basic math between aspect ratio, thrust to weight ratios, and just trying to understand what that dynamic is. But students pick up very quickly that way. The next one is to manufacture the drone for commercial application. We actually have it as a project to hand them a hollow body and say, this is your airframe. Give it a job. And we've seen students come up with using infrared cameras. They've been able to have the drone fly autonomously on a grid system, right? So it's flying by itself, but it is also collecting data and imagery looking for hotspots or dry, non-humid crop areas. Basically potential fire hazards or for agricultural use wherever the water isn't getting to. We've been able to also use, students have also made aircrafts that use LiDAR and evaluate terrain, and it's been specifically helpful for watching for drainage and seeing how the local drainage is working, and it's been pretty useful for Longmont so far. We've also used these drones to capture, what is it? Can't remember the species, but it was an endangered fish local to Longmont, or local to the St. Vrain River, I believe. And so we were able to watch for the algae growth, which endangered it, and we were able to mitigate the risk because we saw how quickly it was growing. We were able to anticipate its danger to the species and remove that algae.
I'm sorry, was that using hyperspectral cameras or?
Yeah, we have a multispectral camera, so we're able to pick up on all 8 bands, which has been super useful, and the kids know way more about it than I do. Our other instructor is the one who oversees drone operations and aircraft engineering. But we also are building actual aircraft. So it goes beyond paper and carbon fiber. It goes beyond the RC and rotorcraft and drones. We are, and I have it here. we are building an actual aircraft. And this is where aeronautical engineering continues. We are building the band RB-12 light sport kit. We have about 12 kids on that team after school. So they have to come voluntarily, but we do pay them. We pay them the minimum wage of 15 some odd an hour, whatever Longmont dictated, right, or the state dictated. And we've been able to get 90% of the way there. So that means we have 90% to go. That's kind of how these planes work. But we were able to showcase it at the Longmont Air Show this past Saturday. Here are my students showcasing the aircraft, among other things that we do. In this picture, that red RC, that red drone over there, that fixed wing drone, was the hotspot finder. It's been retired since, but it still has all the working parts minus the camera and the battery. But that was one of our most notable projects that we've kept around. And then each of these students are in my class. They're learning to fly airplanes, and some of them are actually starting flight training. You can see it's very interesting to the crowd. He couldn't help himself. He had to take a peek. But we got the wings on, and it's looking good. We don't know if it's going to fly yet. That's the most popular question. There's a district concern between faculty and students alike flying in a student-built airplane. But I have all my trust. I think it's built better than most amateurs who build these routinely.
Or Boeing. So
Or Boeing, yeah.
So you'll be so you're going to be the test pilot.
I would love to be the test pilot. Legally, we do have a more authorized test pilot who's also our mentor, who's also an A&P, an airframe and power plant mechanic. Gary Stu of EAA Boulder. He has been helping us a lot, most of it, I'd say. But this was started by another EAA mentor, Dan Berry, Longmont. And so from his hands to Gary's, I've seen this airplane come from vertical stabilizer to engine mounting. So it's been a real journey. This has been going on for the past 3 years. And it looks like we are going to finish it this semester. So what we do with it afterwards, I'm all ears. Yeah. We do.
Build another one.
Yep. Again, they don't want to sell a student-built aircraft for some reason. But we do have a second plane in storage, ready to begin building, so that the students' hands do not remain idle. That one will be a Piper Carbon Cup. A lot easier build, fewer hours, so that one will go probably 1 to 2 years. But after that, the program is kind of left in the air. Where do we go from there? Do we open up an airframe and power plant course and another pathway and allow the engineering pathway to continue into actual maintenance certification? That's one way. However, I think we all know what publication, how fast public education moves. Only slightly faster than the IRS. So we'll see in the next couple of years.
But these are commercial kits.
Yes, yeah, this is sold.
So there isn't a good reason why it shouldn't fly.
Exactly, and it will be airworthy, and it will pass inspection with the FAA. We will send it through an airworthiness inspection. Yes.
How many years are the students typically in this program, and how does it fit in with their regular school schedule?
Yeah, so because it's after school, sometimes it does benefit students. However, our biggest impediment to that is after school programs like sports or other clubs that they may take priority over. So we typically see a high turnover rate every semester, where we're still able to retain about 6 on the team, but then 6 wash over. So we have about a 50% refresh rate.
Oh, but how about the students during the school day, I assume, the regular class?
Oh, I see.
Are they there at the Innovation Center for the entire day, or is it a couple of class periods, or how's that work?
So because students are bused, and that takes a lot of time and takes a lot of time for learning and have a schedule, St. Vrain is on a block schedule where they go through no more than 4 classes in a day, each class being over an hour, about an hour and a half. And so that's how long they're expected to be in my class. And they can take more than one course at a time where they can be inside for up to 3 hours. I do also have teachers' aides where kids take up internships to stay in my class longer because they got nothing better to do. And then when they do this after school, it's about a couple hours, about 2.5 hours from 3 to 5:30. So they could be theoretically in this building for an entire day.
And what regular class, or what classes does it replace that they would otherwise be taking if they weren't in this?
Yeah, unfortunately, they are all still electives, so they don't replace any required science or math. But we are working with a company right now that can crosswalk that curriculum so that they do obtain a physical science credit. So that's early as freshman year in high school, or I believe it's Algebra 1. So when we get to crosswalk that and the state approves it, then a private pilot course such as mine would receive required course credit as opposed to electives. I'm just going to run it back again. So that build is part of a project team. And a project team is just a name we give saying that we have a project that is typically for the commercial market. So like FCI construction is a project that we're hired for. Or if we have to build a drone or maybe we're doing a search and rescue operation or something like that. That's all going to be a project that's typically bringing us outside the building and into the industry. So when we build a team, it's just a project team, but we pay the students, and in that they get to learn the actual skills needed in the fields. So one of them is the aircraft engineering, but the other one is probably the most popular. I think everyone has heard of this. Our new drone performance team that does the drone light shows all across St. Vrain District. We did the show in 4th of July, I believe, right here in the fairgrounds. I don't know if anybody got to see that. I didn't either. But here in our own backyard, you can kind of see our runway. This was just a test run, but we were able to, we can make any picture, any logo. And this is one of the largest project teams in the building, and it just started this semester. Reason what makes it the largest is not because everyone wants to fly the drone. We only need 2 operators to fly all 300 drones here. Everyone else is in making the imagery, right? What designs are we making? What colors is it? What's our music that's in the background? And that actually incorporates other aspects of our building. So we actually have the cinematic team, as well as our what is it? Not robotics. It's design and another team that will actually help us in coordinating a lot of this stuff. So some of these students on this team don't know anything about aeronautics. They don't know how to fly a drone. But what they do know is how to program inside of an environment. And so that's what we have them do. And they'll program these exact images that you see here. So this is our logo. They'll program the drone to do it, and then the drone operator just ensures that it runs.
So each one of those lights is a drone.
Yes.
And how big are those drones?
They are about 6 inches by 6 inches. It's mostly battery and LED. Here, this is only 100 drones out in this image. We have 300 that we use for a show. And we do about 2 shows a week now, based off of our schedule. And we have about, I want to say about 12 students currently on the team between 3 different project teams across the building. So this has become one of our most interconnected project teams. And it's really shown how unified that building is and how close these students get to each other without knowing the other person's field. They're able to work really well together, and it's just been phenomenal. On the left, the football team, this is kind of where the drone performance team kind of started. We started recording football games on behalf of football teams because they want to see how well their offensive or defensive line performs. And this started 2 years ago, and it quickly overwhelmed us. We did not have enough drones. We did not have enough operators to fly every single game from 8 p.m. to 10:30 and provide the recorded footage to the team day of. So what we turned around and did was tell the students, you're federally certified. Go make the contract yourself. And so we stopped taking in contracts from local schools as a building, and students began becoming the self-employed entity satisfying the contracts. And now they make, instead of $15 an hour, they make $50 an hour. So I believe each school offers about anywhere between $150 and $200 a game. And that's still active between many of our operators. So that's how it started, and 2 years later, now we have a drone show team, 300 drones and upwards of 12 students.
Where do the scholarships come?
We've yet to receive scholarships. Typically, students who apply will receive the scholarships independently after our recommendation. So we still have to abide by that whole third-party distance, but many of our students will typically receive scholarships just by their resume.
For the drone show, how much of the equipment and the software and stuff is developed by you guys, or is it kind of off the shelf and they're more doing the programming and design?
So we paired up with a third-party company. I want to try to get the name right, but I'm going to butcher it. It's like Flight Right or something. Fly Right. The drone. They specialize in drone shows. However, they only manufacture the drones, and while they try to employ their own people for their own shows, they're severely understaffed. And so because of that, when they took our students out into, I think it was Ohio, right? I think they took them somewhere near Oshkosh or something. They trained them on the drones, they trained them on the software, and because our students picked it up so fast, they offered them a job starting at $80K. And now they're in San Diego doing drone shows. And they fly all across the country as well just to do these shows. They're already graduating. We don't see them anymore.
So
we hear about them.
So when the kids are filming football games, they're running their own job. Whose drone are they using?
They're still typically they started off using our drones and our equipment. But these students were able to access their own drones, knowing what models work because we have such an extensive fleet. They were able to make an informed choice on what aircraft they wanted. So they do take it on that initial investment of $300, $400, $500 of the equipment, but they quickly make that back after 2 or 3 games. And that's typically 2 weeks time.
Or they get hired by Bill Belichick.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Coach Prime to hire us. Yeah, so the football field was taken at our maximum height, 398 feet. So that's as wide as we can get on our that zoom lens. We quickly upgraded to a wider lens and lower altitude. We were still able to receive the entire team from corner to corner. And then another one is the Aero team. This was the first team that derived from the Aero department. This is when we had an instructor who was hired by UPS and ran FAA's first certified drones for medical runs. And so he was highly experienced in orthomosaics, as well as just typical drone regulations. So this is some of FCI's build. And actually on the left is the Innovation Center being built. So our students were already paired with FCI and recording and taking snapshots of the Innovation Center before we even had a building. And on the right is, I believe, just another building. I think it's an apartment building. Not quite sure, but it was a new development that we were part of. And so these are just snapshots of what the students took while in the field. So this is one that's still going on. We still work with FCI during our expansion. If we get the expansion this November, then we will continue working with FCI, appointing students and giving them these skills. And that is it. That is the Innovation Center Aeronautics. And we hope that we are only meeting our expectations or exceeding them. And so, again, I did mention a bond measure in November. It will be to expand all schools in the district. But primarily, we will be able to expand ours almost twice the length out past the runway. And to be able to expand every single program inside that building, not just aeronautics. But it would give us the room to possibly do that aviation maintenance program that would be ideally sponsored with or partnered with Spartan in Broomfield. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Spartan Aviation. But they've already, and Ames have already pledged partnership for that program. So,
what's that, the strip about a couple hundred feet, or where is it?
yeah, I think it's 200 feet.
I just estimated based on the building.
I'm really bad at measuring. I only know nautical miles.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think it's just a little over 100 feet, maybe just shy of 200 feet. And we've been able to do quite a bit with that runway. I mean, we've developed a GPS auto landing with some of our drones. We typically have 10 crews out there, each with a drone, practicing, doing grid patterns. And we do our entire drone show practice back there. And then the rest of the building actually completed. So if there are no more questions, I thank you guys for inviting me and
How
giving me
many's on
some
your
time.
staff?
Hmm?
How many's on your staff?
In just specifically aeronautics?
Yeah.
3 instructors for the entire aeronautics department.
You know, does either the drone program or I guess maybe the RC aircraft have any potential issues for maybe having better antennas or amplification would allow them to work farther away? Or are you constrained by kind of legal limits?
We are kind of constrained by the legal limits, line of sight. So if you can't see the drone, that's kind of as far as we can go. We haven't had any really connectivity issues. DJI is really good with that. We've noticed though connection issues with more American manufactured drones. I don't know why that is. I think there's a gray area with frequencies that DJI uses that's not technically authorized, but not punished. So I think that's why DJI is able to kind of monopolize bandwidth as opposed to the American developers who try to stay within regulations. Yeah. Interesting, but yeah, our entire fleet is DJI, and we're not sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You won't get any government work.
Well, again, thank you all for having me.
I have one question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where were you when I was in high school?
Still inside my dad's balls.
That's awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Hey, my son, Phil, is in the Boulder Valley Innovation Center. This was 15, 20 years ago. And he spent all his extra time there in their computer lab. And now he gets a lot of money now doing what he's doing over at Rico.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how far technology goes and what one line of code will make you. I think Stripe is a total of 6 lines of code. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Who would have thought? You just figured out the alphabet.
I live in Boulder. Where's the innovation center here?
So, coming from Boulder, you're gonna have to take Nelson all the way through to South Pratt. Once you hit Maine, you're gonna head south on 287, and it's gonna be off Quail Road, just kind of behind the St. Vrain Creek.
By the rec center and the museum.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, I always forget that's a
Yeah.
landmark.
Wow. Well, you guys are doing a lot of.
Yeah,
cool stuff.
and we definitely invite anybody to come visit and join, see what we do, see what we're about. You can even schedule a free tour on our website. Yep. Yes.
What age kids go there?
So we typically only cater to high school right now, but we are beginning a middle school outreach very soon. So any students from 14 to 18, they're more than welcome to take classes or the after school programs.
Is it difficult for students to get in? Is there some entrance criteria?
No, I think that just the real inhibitor is the demand. We fill up quick, and our wait lists are as long as our class lists. So we have about 200 students on wait lists every year.
Is that just first come, first served?
It's ideal scheduling first. So like counselors will make sure that it fits in their schedule versus what their requirements are. And then once they realize that the students could fit the class, they send us their registration. We get them in, we give them a seat, and then it fills up at about 20. Right now we're topping off at 27, but we're supposed to be at 25.
So is it just the building size or lack of staff? What's holding up accepting more students?
Kind of all of it, faculty size, building size. So I can't really seat more than 20 students. I could theoretically seat 40 students in the simulator lab if we really want to get it crunched in there. Yeah, other than that, I can only teach 5 courses a semester. And so if we want to add another 5, I would need another instructor. And they don't like to give us the budget for instructors. They like to overwork us first.
So you're part of the
Welcome to
same
corporate
grade
world.
district?
Yes.
Welcome to corporate world.
Yeah. I thought public sector would be different, but now just the benefits.
Non-privacy wars.
Yes. So yeah, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great. Hey, thank you, Colin. We've been trying to work a little partnership with them and trying to pull some things off. Still need to get with Jackson. Yeah, and see what's going on.
Joe.
Yeah. And see what's going on and try to, see if we can get some folks that may be interested in amateur radio.
I was actually under the impression that we were starting a private ham radio team.
Yeah, we were, and I don't know what happened with it. That's
Okay.
Maybe Chris Rudd is back,
I guess he was.
or Dave Rudd. He had a medical issue.
Oh, I see. He was
He-
project manager and
Yeah.
he kind of disappeared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's probably why.
So we need to give it Axel.
Yeah.
We'll follow up with that.
I was anticipating you guys.
Because I know we presented to his class, and a lot of the kids were like really interested because they're already talking on the radios, right? You got to talk to ACC, Unicom, whatever, airport they're at, things like that. So they got half of it down. Just get their license and get them on radio, get them to radio.
Yep.
It's really, it should be that easy for them. But, so that's the kind of things this club's trying to do, is reach out, see what we can do to help other organizations, get people involved in the hobby, things like that. So, I know Steve's been a big, help trying to get that together and trying and presenting it. So, some of the things that happen in the background. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Anybody got anything before we wrap it up this evening? As a reminder, we are doing Bark Fest. We have a table, so if you'd like to volunteer to help me out, please do. I am in the process of picking up some ham radio gear for a silent key, that we're gonna sell at the table for him, and help out the widow. In fact, I'm going over to pick it up tonight after this meeting. He was a newer ham, wasn't a member of the club, but contacted us through our website and said, hey, you know, I got this box of HTs and other stuff. We have a small apartment. I said, that's the kind of silent key I like, because the last silent key was a 5x8 trailer full of stuff in the storage shed. From Glen Haven, down a dirt road, over streams. So this was a lot nicer. So there'll be more equipment available. This one will be sold because we're doing proceeds. The other last one was donated to the club. We did get some donations from that as well.
We're gonna double your salary this year.
We're gonna do what?
Double your salary.
Yeah, okay. An extra zero. We're gonna add extra zeros, so it'll be 0.00, not 0.0. But,
Anything out of Anemone,
what?
Anemone, that charity thing through AMD?
Well, my volunteer hours, I donate to the club.
Okay, okay.
I
I didn't know if there was anything else for you.
Yeah, in fact, you should have got a donation the last month or two, of like $250 that came in, or maybe it hasn't hit yet, I don't know. Takes them like 6 months. But anytime I donate hours with the club here, I put it with A&B and then they match it with funds. And last year I donated $250, and this should be another $250. Steve through Excel Energy has a donation program as well, donates to the club as well. So we can keep doing what we're doing and eventually
They don't tell us who it came from.
do it.
They don't tell us who it came from.
No, it just comes into the account, so, but we want to remain anonymous, I think, you know, that's just part of it. And so we can start working on repeaters and things like that as well, and with that expanding, which the technology team, Mark and Doug and Brian will be working on it as well, and I keep telling them about it, so. We're working on it. We make things better.
Where's the Bark Fest? Here?
Bark Fest is here at the fairgrounds, October 6th, which is a Sunday. And hopefully they get turnout. I believe that is the last Ham Fest of the season for Colorado. I don't think we have any more until first of the year, in carts in January. We'll start all over again. Other than that, like I said, anybody has any ideas, suggestions, things I'd like to see, please let me know. We'll sit and chat. Anybody wants to have a coffee with me and just rag chew or have ideas for the club, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I'm flexible enough that I can go into work late or meet you at lunch or whatever. We can sit and just, you know, figure out how we can help each other out and make this the best club in Northern Colorado. I think we're there, but I just want to keep it going, and I can't do it without the club. Like I said, it's not my club, it's your club, and that's the way we're going to keep it. So with that said, thank you everybody again. Have a great evening and a great week. We'll see you next month, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everybody knows,
Okay, so
we're official.
as secretary, I can report there is a quorum.
Excellent. Let's
We have 43, with proxies, we have 43 voting members.
Nice. I think it's probably the most we've ever had in the last couple of years. So as the current club president, thank you, everybody. Seriously. You don't realize how much this bothers the board and not getting enough voters every year. It literally, we talk about it all year long. So thank you. I really appreciate it. You know how much it means, because I know, was it 2 years ago? I think we had to postpone it, things like that. And it just makes it really painful to run the club efficiently when you got that kind of stuff hanging over your head. So with that said, a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into the voting and then to our presentation this evening. Colin. As a reminder, I didn't send out an invite yet, but there's a new page on the website. We're doing a fox hunt on the last Saturday of the month from noon to 2. Little caveat with the fox hunt this time, I'm making it a little bit more interesting for you. There's no frequency in there, and there's no location for the fox. Here's the reason why. I want you to go to aprs.fi, and I want you to find the fox at noon. It'll list the frequency, and it'll give you a general idea where it's at. Fox will be moving about every 15 minutes and reporting by APRS, but we'll also be sending out a tone about every 60 seconds as well. So you have 2 different ways to try to find the fox and 2 different technologies. So I thought I'd do something a little different, maybe a little bit more fun, and see if you get a chance to find the fox. May not be for everybody, but it's something different that we've never done. So the APR signal will list the transmitting signal so you can go track it. And it'll be somewhere, all I can tell you is somewhere in Longmont. Because to be honest, I don't know where the hell I'm gonna be that day, and I'm the one running it. So, and it's gonna move, like I said, too. So it was in one place. In about 15 minutes, it's gonna move, and then it's gonna broadcast another APRS signal.
Just don't put it in an Uber Eats car.
No, won't blame Uber's car.
You'll never find it.
Yeah. Of course, they can use it so they know where they're at.
Yeah.
But, so that's what I'm doing a Fox Hunt this month. Also, on the second Saturday in October, at the Boulder County Fairgrounds, they do the farmer's market. They have a emergency, it's basically one of those portable mini houses, and they show emergency exits and things that catch fire and things like that. We've been asked to set up a table for ham radio and participate with them. So I'll be running a table. So if you'd like to volunteer to help with that, please let me know. It's gonna be the second Saturday in October, and I'll send out an email reminder.
The 12th.
I'm sorry,
The 12th.
the 12th, thank you. The 6th is BarkFest. We do have a table for BarkFest this year, so if you'd like to volunteer to help with that, please let me know. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. We have a testing session here in this room on the last Saturday is 27th? 28th of this month, Patriot BE session. So if you need to upgrade your ticket, or you know somebody would like to get an upgrade or would like to get the ticket in general, sign up online and register, and then come on out and take the test with Kat and Brian and the rest of the Patriot BE team. Anybody else have any announcements for the club this evening?
Is it a ARL testing?
No, it's a Patriot, so it's free,
And it's online.
and it's online. So you just bring your computer and test away. All right, anybody else got any other announcements?
Are you still looking for volunteers for Santa on the Air?
Yes, thank you, Brian. Send on the Air, or what I call SODA, will be happening Friday after Thanksgiving till December 10th. We'll be using our repeaters, Echolink, and we'll be linking up with Northern Colorado's repeaters as well. So if you'd like to be a Santa or an elf, please contact me. We'll get you involved in the meetings. I'm looking for more volunteers. I have some slots to fill. Once I get the slots filled, I'll be advertising that with QRZ, QST, whoever I can market it to, I am going to market it. There's also a group, I believe in Ohio or Georgia, I forget, I gotta look at my emails, that wants to link up with our Echolink to their Echolink, so we may even have more kids. This year I'm doing a little different though. We're doing 1 hour sessions instead of 2. And I have a time frame that Santa is available for, meaning if you can't do it at 6 o'clock at night, do it at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Things like that. So kind of pick your own time slot. And then when I put it on QRZ and QST, the storyline behind it will be, based on soil propagation and what we researched and understand. These are the best time slots to talk to Santa from the North Pole and put a backstory behind it. It's going to be a really cool concept, and the kids love it. As a reminder, the kids do get contact cards, QSL cards, that are provided by LARC and Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. So and I've had parents email me and say that's the best Christmas gift they ever got was a picture of Santa on a card after the first contact. So this is special to me. If you would like to participate, please do. I make a better elf than a Santa, but I've done both, and it's actually a lot of fun. We have a template, the whole 9 yards. Elf Chucky loves giving questions to Santa and trying to stump him, but he hasn't stumped him yet. Anybody else got any other announcements? All right. Without further ado, did everybody get a chance to at least look at the bylaws and understand the changes that we're proposing?
No.
Okay. Dick, since you kind of ran that committee, would you like to announce to the club really quick the basics, changes that we're looking to do to the bylaws? You're on mute. There you go.
Are you wanting the major change?
Yeah, major changes and changes. I know some of it's just punctuation and spelling errors, but just over the major changes is all we're really worried about.
Okay, the major change that our committee was tasked with was eliminating the immediate past president position and adding an elected member, member at large is the major thing. And then most of the changes that went along with that, changed the bylaws that had mentioned the immediate past president. Those changes have all been made. There were a couple of punctuation changes and a few things were rewritten slightly for clarifications. I don't happen to have all the notes in front of me.
That's okay. I mean, that's the biggest one, Dick. And just so everybody knows, one of the reasons we did that as a board, we kind of talked about it.
Hi.
Hey, Will.
Hi. Oh, sorry, I had my mic open.
Okay. I kind of proposed to the board that I felt that should be a voted on position. Uh-oh. Why is my battery running low? Hang on. My thinking on plug. Not good.
Plug it in.
Yeah, that needs to be plugged in. There we go. I think that did it there, hopefully. Yep, okay. Maybe? Yeah, I think I'm plugged in. Oh, I am plugged in. Oh, I know why. Hang on. I didn't plug in the cart that's on. Right, everything working? You know, leave it up to the IT guy to mess things up. There we go. What can I say?
There you go. Now we're good.
There we go. Now we're back to normal. All right, easy fix. As I was saying, one of the things I thought of, instead of just giving that as a director type position to the past president, and I talked to other clubs as well, they got rid of that many, many years ago. I went to the board and brought it up and said, hey, I think we should make this an elected, official elected director position. And that's why the changes were made to the bylaws to reflect that. That way there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That means when I step down or somebody wants to run against me and I get kicked out, I'm gonna have to run just like everybody else for any other position. And it is gonna be someday, Steve.
Could be tonight.
Somebody wants to run again, I'm all for it. I love good competition. So. And that's the reason we made that change. So, and like you said, spelling errors and just changing up the past president thing. So that's the biggest change. So with that said, I'd like to put up, see how many people would like to approve the proposed bylaw changes to make them official for the Longmont Amateur Radio Club. And all in favor, please raise your hand. If you don't have a picture, you need to say aye or something. Bob raised his. How about John and Will? Okay, I think we got a majority. Anybody opposed to the bylaw changes?
Is there anybody that didn't vote or is it unanimous?
I didn't see Will. You're not online, so we can't see it. Oh, he approves. So it looks like it was unanimous.
All right. So if that's unanimous, we have 44 votes out of 44 votes in the affirmative. And that, and I can attest to that we have a quorum. A quorum was 29 votes. So we have a good quorum. So the motion passes.
And the bylaws have been officially changed. So thank you. With that said, for those of you who are on right now, if you would like to nominate yourself or you know somebody that would like to run for that member at large position, please think about it. We'll be trying to vote for that tonight as well, fill that position. So keep that in mind when we're going through the votes, okay? As my current official last act, I'm going to vote for executive board members, which includes president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and that new member at large position, okay? And we'll go down the road. So either I'll officially take it back up if you guys vote me back in or not. But right now I'm taking nominations from the floor. If anybody would like to run for LARC president, please speak up now or forever hold your peace.
Chuck, I'd like to run for member at large.
Okay, well, we'll get to that one in just a second. I'm just doing board president right now. We're going to, but thank you.
His heart's out there for sure.
Actually, I was hoping everybody else would. So is there anybody else other than myself who's already or said he's gonna run again, would like to run for board president? Okay, not seeing anything. All in favor of me being board president for the next year, raise your hand.
Aye.
Or say aye, or let us know in chat.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed to me being board president? All right, looks like it's anonymous there, Pat. It looks like I got it for another year.
So you got 44 votes. Congratulations.
Thank you. As your new board president,
I don't know how to put my hand down, but I vote for you.
thank you.
Not against you.
So the next position now is the vice chair. Currently, our vice chair, Mr. Mike, said he would do it for another year. Does anybody like to step in and nominate themselves, or anybody would like to run against them? Anyone? Okay,
No one.
then I guess we're going to be voting for Mr. Mike Ritchie, WKKI, as our vice chair. All in favor of Mike doing another year of the job he's been doing for the club, please raise your hand. Those that are on, say aye or raise the hand.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Aye. Oh, sorry. All right, I think it's anonymous. Mike is in for the year. I'm gonna make him work harder this year than last. Thank you. So next, we're gonna do secretary. Well, actually, I'm gonna leave you for last, Pat. Then we can keep all the notes officially, in case. Pat has offered to step down, and there is somebody else to do that. So we'll talk about that. So now we'll do treasurer. Don, thank you for your years of service for the club. Seriously, Don has been treasurer of this club for, I know, at least as long as I've been here, which is 8 years. Some of you have been here a lot longer.
10, as far as I can remember.
About 10 years. Okay, so he's been doing this for 10 years. Don has stepped down
I
to
didn't
do.
know that.
You know what shows you're gonna go into, right? Don has stepped down, to go on to bigger and better things. He will be staying with the club and helping in other endeavors with the club, but he has stepped down as treasurer. Bob, W0JGC, has put his hat in the ring and nominated himself to do that. Would anybody else like to nominate themselves or anybody that nominate for treasurer and be interested in that position? Please let us know now. Silence is golden, Bob. Looks like you're nominated, buddy. With that said, all in favor of Bob being our new treasurer for the Longmont Radio Club, please raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Think it's anonymous, Bob. Congratulations, you're the new treasurer for the Longmont Radio Club. He has a bill, and then Mark will be looking for you later too. He likes to spend money too for the club, but it's a good thing. You should do the and stuff. All right. At this point, and I said, Pat, I want to leave you last since you are Pat is stepping down as well as secretary, but to keep him official because the person who nominated himself is not online or in the room for secretary. So we're going to keep you last so you can keep all the notes and keep at least the voting official. Is the member at large position. Steve in Zero FTI has already nominated himself. Would anybody else like to nominate themselves as to run for that position of member at large?
Oh, Steve is running?
Steve wants to run. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm looking for nominations from the floor. Anybody's interested? A little bit about the position really quick. Basically, there really is nothing for that position other than it's a director for the club. So it has a bit more voting rights and things like that when it comes to that. But basically, they're here to serve the board and the club, you, to make this the best club that we can be in Northern Colorado, okay? And of course, whatever the president decides to throw in his lap, they can do. And the list keeps growing. Anybody else like to throw a name in a hat? All right, I'm hearing silence. With that said, we have a nominee, NZRFTI Steve. All in favor of Steve being our new member of Large, please raise your hand.
All right.
Hey,
Go for yourself.
Anybody anybody opposed to Steve? Please say aye or nay. Raise your hand. All right.
Steve.
Steve, congratulations, you're our new member of Large for the club. Thank you. I expect you to come on board meetings then, first Wednesday of every month. That's the only criteria that I have, is just participating in that. All right, with that said, again, another sadness. Pat has done years of service for this club as secretary. Like I said, he's been on the board as secretary for as long as I can remember when I started. But how long have you been on, Pat? Do you remember? You started?
Oh, 8 or 10 years, about the same length as Don. I think Don's a year ahead of me.
Well, both of you have done a great job for the club, and I do appreciate it. And the club in general appreciates it, you know. The club is a 501c3, okay? We're a nonprofit organization. We're registered with the state. We have a federal tax ID. We have to have a board to run this club, like, unfortunately, like a company, to be honest with you, because we're an LLC, okay? These guys have kind of kept everything together over those years, along with myself and past presidents and things like that. So your board does a lot more than I think a lot of people realize. If you're not part of an HOA board, you don't realize what a board does for an organization. Some people don't. We're ultimate responsibility for the club. My name's on all the legal stuff, so if I say, no, we can't do this, there's a reason behind it usually. It's to protect the club, okay? Things like that. So there's a lot of, unfortunately, legality involved with that. So club, you know, a board can get really, you get nasty on occasions, to be honest. I'm going to be transparent. And I'm trying to avoid that. So, but we've had a good group of people. We've had no problems over the last 8 years I've been here, the last 4 years that I've been as president. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's been on the board, who's helped us to keep this club up and running, come up with ideas, and basically make us, I would say, one of the best clubs in Northern Colorado, if not the best. Okay? We're not the biggest by any means, but guess what? You look at other people's websites and other clubs, we're doing a hell of a lot more than a lot of other clubs are doing. Okay? In fact, I got other clubs that are trying to steal from me as far as ideas. Even though I offer it to them, I still give Joe a hard time about stealing stuff from me with Northern Colorado. But and that's one thing we're going to keep doing. Steve Haverstick has put a little template together for me. I'm going to send to other communities in the area to let them know that, hey, LARC is here. If you need us for something, pick up the phone and call us. Okay. For example, Frederick has their Miners Day this weekend. WARS, the Well Amateur Race Society, is actually supporting the borough race for them this weekend, which I'm participating in with them. So, you know, different things like that we can help other communities around Longmont. Because even in our bylaws and our mission statement, you know, we support other communities around Longmont. So we should be helping them. Mead, even sometimes if Boulder can't do something, Boulder, possibly Broomfield, Frederick, Tacoma, Firestone, what am I missing? Berthoud, you know,
Netherland.
communities that can use help.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes on stuff. So we're going to get ourselves out there more, and that's one of the things that hopefully continue to do. What was that?
Yeah.
Lafayette, Superior. If it's not required. Evans. I want to go to Platteville, maybe. Platteville does some parades and stuff though sometimes, so that could be fun to help them. But they usually, I think, reach out to WARS because they're in Greeley. But the concept is we're going to let people know we're here. Okay. With that said, because this is your club, not the boards or anybody else's, it's your club. We're going to be looking for some participation, some volunteers if you can help. Okay. Can't keep the same people doing it all the time. So keep it coming. We need volunteers. Okay. So with that said, Ed Moran, W70M, has nominated himself to run for secretary. He's not here this evening, which is surprising. But anybody else would like to nominate themselves as well? Floor's now for nominations for secretary. Hey, Bob, are you running for, you want to run for secretary?
Thanks, no.
Okay, that's an old hand.
That's an old.
No, I didn't lower my hand.
We
Sorry
just
about
want to
that.
be sure. I'm sure, you know, Ed wouldn't mind either on that, you know. So, no nominations other than Ed? All right, with that said, Ed's the only nominee. All in favor of Ed being our new club secretary for Longmont Amateur Club, please raise your hand or say aye. I think there's other comments in chat, yeah. But it's just miscellaneous stuff. See? All right. I think anybody opposed to Ed being our club secretary? No hands? Ted, I'm thinking the thumbs up is for Ed running, not opposed. Okay. I guess I was right. So with that said, Ed Moran, the W70M is now our new club secretary for 24-25.
Mormon.
Sorry. What do I keep saying?
You say Moran.
Right.
H-R-N-A.
Ed, the W70M. We'll leave it at that. So thank you for that. With that said, another year of successful elections. So thank you, everybody, for participating. If you were somebody's proxy, thank that person as well. They couldn't attend. And we're hoping that 24-25 will be even better than 23-24. Okay. We're always looking to expand the club. Again, I say I look for ideas, but also with those ideas, put suggestions on how to make those ideas happen. Okay. Because it can't, you know, I can't do everything as much as I'd like to. I still run a 40-hour job. I'm not in the life of retirement yet. That's still way down the road. But I do try to keep the club as active as I can. Okay. And I'm going to continue to do that as your president. I promise to do that. I'm still on a goal of trying to get at least one event sponsored by the club every year, each month. And so far I've been able to do that the last 2 years. So I'll do that for another year. And whether it's a fox hunt or we're going to start looking for people for LARC Fest starting in April. So looking for volunteers for that. We're looking for volunteers to help with the Christmas party in December. I know Dick can use all the help and get that set up and get that going. And so there's opportunities out there. Just let us know what you're available for. I don't ask for you to volunteer all the time, but if you can give a couple of cycles here and there to volunteer, please do. You know, I'm just looking for a little bit of sweat. You don't even have to bleed or cry. Just a little bit of sweat to help out the club. Unlike some places where they want blood, sweat, and tears. Okay. All right. With that said, anybody else have any final questions, comments, concerns before we go on to our presentation this evening? All right. Without further ado, we have Colin from the Innovation Center here in Longmont. He's
We're going to close the meeting.
I'm sorry. Don?
Don't you have to close the business meeting first?
Yes.
Do we have to close the business meeting first? Pat? Do we need to close the business meeting before we go to presentation?
Yes, we should formally.
Okay. Thank you, Don. Thomas? I don't know everything, so what do we need to close the business meeting?
I move we close the business.
I have a motion to close the business meeting. I have a second. All in favor?
Hi.
All right, okay.
Hi.